Hello and welcome to episode 57. Don't laugh at me.
I'm laughing because your voice is kind of bad right now.
I lost my voice all week. It's been all raspy. It's my raspy voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Episode 57
Yes.
of Your Ultimate Comeback.
Yes.
Yes, I apologize about my voice.
Yeah.
It sounds a whole lot better today than it did yesterday.
That's true. I can attest to that.
Yeah. So, I don't know what's going on with it. I think it's
I know a lot of people that have that sort of thing going right now.
I think football practice is back on. It's really cold. You know,
You're running yourself ragged.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And like music is always going, so you have to yell so the kids can hear you.
Yeah.
And so I'm super hoarse by the end of football practice.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So it's good. How you been? Everything good?
Things are good. Yeah.
Nice and green Christmassy.
I know.
look?
I have my Christmas spirit.
I didn't
today.
get the memo.
You didn't? Well, you kind of
No.
are black and white always, I feel like.
Yeah, that's kind of our dress code
Yeah.
at the gym.
Yeah. and you don't want to take time to do a costume change before you come on air.
I had 15 minutes to get here.
Oh,
so
okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Didn't have time for any type of change.
I got you.
So,
Oh.
but everything good in your world?
Yeah.
Is Quinn back?
Quinn comes back tonight. I think she
Tonight.
leaves about 5 p.m. and
Nice.
drives home. Yeah.
Nice.
So she's excited to have some time off.
I bet.
Yeah.
I would be too. I miss those days of having like Christmas break, spring
Yeah.
break, summer
Yeah.
break.
Yeah. Well, you know what I miss? I was at this clothing store. Well, first of all, I posted a picture of my kids on my
That was
Instagram.
classic.
Sitting on Santa's lap and just, time is a thief, someone said. And
Yeah.
I said, absolutely, that is so accurate.
Yeah.
Do you know when you're in the trenches with the young kids and you feel like it's never going to end?
Yes.
I mean, there's so many great things, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you think, holy crap, they're never going to be adults. They're never going to, and now boom, it's wild how
Yeah.
that happens.
The days were so long back then.
Yes. And just, did you have to do Elf on the Shelf?
No, my kids never got into that.
Mine either, thankfully, because
Thank God.
parents really stress out about
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh my God, I forgot the elf. I know one parent that couldn't find it and she was freaking out. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know.
funny. I came across a picture of Isabel when she was little. And we were decorating cookies.
Aw.
And she's like, look, his guts are on the outside. And it's a cookie Santa Claus or
Yeah.
snowman with
Yeah.
just all this guts on the outside.
Right.
It's cutest little face.
Yeah, getting into it. I love it.
Too fun. Too fun.
There's a lot of busyness right now.
Oh, man.
Right? I mean, do you feel the tenseness with people?
Yes.
I really do too.
So I'm going to admit, Gavin and he wanted in and out the other night.
Okay.
After football practice. So I took him and we're hanging out there. And holy cow, we're sitting right by the little bench next to where people are getting to pick up their food. People were a-holes.
Really?
I just looked at Gavin. I'm like, wow, people are in a really bad mood tonight, aren't they?
'Tis the season.
Like getting pissed off over like
Their burger
the
wasn't
silliest
done yet.
things, or having to wait on their fries a little too long. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I feel like that with, the driving, you can definitely tell. Don't you love when someone speeds up to pass you and then you end up at the light at the same time?
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Was it worth it?
Yeah. How's that? You look over. Cool. That was cool, dude. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like everybody's on edge and I am trying so hard to not be this year. It's hard. It's challenging. We have so much to do, so little time. It's
So much packed. Like,
yeah.
keep waiting for it to kind of like release as we get closer to Christmas, and it's just like more and more stuff getting thrown in the.
It's just the having such a short period of time, or it feels like it, between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, I think wrapped that up even more.
Yeah, I agree.
Because here we are less than 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
And I feel like we ease into it generally a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's a little nutty.
Well, it's funny because it's supposed to be this time of family and like enjoyment,
Joy,
and
and
love.
I know.
Yeah.
It gets like to be a lot, and
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that's why we need fitness and our sanity, and still rest and recovery, even more probably now. Do you think so?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because we're eating worse,
Right.
and so people are more likely to get sick this time of year
Yes.
because of the food quality, the alcohol intake,
Yeah.
the stress.
Yeah.
You can see it like, and everyone's getting sick.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. Everyone kind of pays the price during this period of time. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, but like you said, it's even more of a reason to get your exercise in, get your relaxation, rest,
Yeah.
meditation,
Yeah.
whatever that is. When you have the opportunities, eat better quality food.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Use your immune supplements, whatever ones you like to use.
Yes.
Get those in check.
And sleep well if you can.
Yeah, if you can. Yeah, people. A lot of my clients are suffering from poor sleep right now.
Yeah.
I think because all the parties, all the stress, gotta get this thing done.
It's hard to wind down when you're, I noticed that for me is if I only teach at night, one night a week now, and that's not even that late for most people, but I'm done at 6 p.m. I usually just sit and chill out for a few minutes before I leave. And then, and then that pushes everything back.
Yeah.
It's hard to come down.
Yeah.
I notice. I feel a definite difference.
Yeah. I've had a lot of success over the years with vitamin C in the evening times for people that like if they work out at night or they have a hard time coming down from that stuff. It's a cortisol modulator, so it'll bring the cortisol hormones down.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C in the evening time. I've had a lot of success.
Really?
Particularly with people that work out in the evening time and then notice they have a hard time coming down from that.
Because you're just so
vitamin C is cool because it's a modulator. So if cortisol levels are too low, it'll bring them up. So you can take it in the morning and kind of give you some energy in the evening time and it can bring it down. It's a pretty interesting little supplement. Yeah. I wanted to share something. I can't remember how this came up. Someone was asking me about some of my mentors who I've studied under, and the name Charles Poliquin came up. And this was a gentleman, he had a huge impact on me. I mean, I spent a college education worth of income on his courses, his internships. He was fascinating. He passed away a couple years ago. And after I started talking about him, I kind of, oh man, I used to like really always like listen to his stuff, read his books, read his articles. And since he's passed away, I really haven't. So this gentleman wanted to like send me some podcasts or interviews on him. And so I started digging in, and man, I forgot how much of an impact he had on me and the stuff he talked about. And this was probably one of the most decorated strength coaches in all of history. I think he's had over 400 Olympic medalists in like multiple different sports. Just he's unreal. And as I was listening to his podcast, one of the things that jumped out at me was his focus on so often clinical experience trumps research. And he was the one who really kind of got me focused on research is slow to the game.
Yeah.
And he was sharing some points on this. Like one of the ones that was really interesting was something called cluster training. This is a style of training would use. It's a high level approach to really drive strength. So I really only use it with my professional athletes periodically. But he was talking about how this novel research piece came out validating cluster training in 2006. He's like, I learned about it in 1976.
Right.
And then he asked his mentor back then when he learned about it, he goes, oh, he learned about it in 1968.
Wow.
And so they did the research, try to figure out where that came from. Like, when did that come into existence? And a clinician came up with it in 1948. So 60 years later,
it's just
the research coming out is this novel thing. Where clinicians have been using it for 60 years as a strategy to drive strength. So that was just a great example of that. Another thing that jumped out at me in the same topic was peptides are huge right now. It's about 2025.
Right.
I had an interview from 2015 with him I was listening to. He was talking about they were already playing with peptides. Like he was talking about BPC 157, BP 500.
Right.
This was 10 years ago.
Crazy.
And they were already in the mix playing with it. That was back when it was only allowed to be used for research.
Okay.
But it just gives you some ideas of how far behind research can be.
Yes.
And how often strategies being used effectively by clinicians don't have the research to support them.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm now learning in the strength world that we're using that don't have the valid research. And every once in a while you'll come across someone will comment on a post or something and be like, yeah, where's the research to support that?
Yeah.
Like, well, dude, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I don't care that it doesn't exist. It works. We're going to keep using it. If they would have waited for cluster training to be backed by research, they would have been 60 years late to the game.
Right.
So that was really interesting to me because he was the one who really pushed that into my head of, and showed me how slow research is, especially in the world of fitness, the world of nutrition and supplementation. It's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. But the other thing that he talked about that I loved, he was speaking to, do you know who Joe Polish is?
No.
He's an entrepreneur guy that runs this mastermind with like some of the biggest names in business go to this mastermind. And he had Charles come talk to all these entrepreneurs, CEOs about how to take better care of themselves. And Joe Polish asked him, like, what's the one greatest piece of advice you could give the people in this room? And he said, there's not a lot of difference between entrepreneurs, CEOs, and professional athletes. You're all very driven. You have a very strong yang flame. And that's what separates you is that you guys you're more motivated. You can push harder. You get more done. said, but the biggest mistake you make is that you forget about the oil that fuels the flame. He said, so I spend majority of my time with my high-level CEOs, professional athletes, focused on how do we support the oil? Otherwise, your flame's going to burn out.
Right.
And, it's supporting the idea of stop focusing so much on how hard you exercise, your perfect nutrition.
Yeah.
Start putting more emphasis on fueling the oil. Well, how do you do that? You sleep better, meditation, rest, grateful journals at night before bed, taking days off. Like, if you want to extend your flame and last as long as possible and provide your best energy and work to the world, you got to focus on supporting the oil. Stop focusing on burning out your flame. And it just supports everything we talk about how there's so much emphasis on over-exercising, 2-a-day workouts. He did a lot of research on 2-a-day workouts, found that you can handle it 3 days out of every 5 doing 2 workouts a day for about 3 weeks, and you got to get away from it for a period of time. I mean, think about how many people you know that do 2 workouts a day,
a lot of
5
people.
or 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought into that. I fell into that category, and it took me 6 years to recover from it. And I did it pretty much for a year, and it was devastating.
Yeah.
So
I think people, when they start to get results, they think, oh gosh, this is working here. Let me bump it up even more.
Yeah, let's double down.
Let's get even more results. But it kind of comes from sort of that, 75 hard, and let's do, that mentality of we got to do more. We have, especially with things like Instagram or TikTok or what have you. Although, is that going away? I hear that's going away.
I keep hearing
Yeah. Well, we don't have a TikTok following anyway, so that's okay. But I keep...
And we don't have much of an Instagram following.
I know,
put up a
what's
new Instagram
wrong?
page. Let's go, people.
Yes,
Follow us.
That's right.
Send us your questions on there.
Yes. But I feel like people want to show off what they can do. There's always a challenge on Instagram, and I have people sending me these things all the time. Sherry is one that will always send me this crazy dude doing this insane thing, or this woman doing this insane thing. Like, oh, can you do that? I'm like, I don't know, but it's funny. It makes us, oh gosh, I need to be able to do that. And it's that way with so many things when it comes to fitness, right? Oh, this person looks so good and they're doing this, so I better do that. And it's just that comparison thing is really, it's rough.
And doing extreme things is sexy.
Of course. Yes.
There's so much connection to relaxation as, oh, you're just lazy.
I know.
Yeah. But I mean, this is one of the greatest strength coaches in all of history. He's the most decorated and successful strength coach. And what he's always pounding into his athletes and the CEOs is, you got to fuel the oil that fuels the flame.
Right.
But we don't do that because now it's caffeine. That's not fueling the oil, that's fueling the flame.
Right.
Alcohol is trying to calm the flame down enough at night to fall asleep, but that is putting the flame out. All the strategies and tools we have are to create more drive, more energy, push harder, do more. So I think it's just another supportive scenario of, again, the most decorated strength coach in history talking about, you got to support the oil. Stop fueling the flame because that's going to burn you out.
I'm trying to think, when do you think the insane workouts began?
I think CrossFit had a big to do.
Probably. Yes.
And I don't hate CrossFit. There are CrossFit boxes that are really good at how they program and they use CrossFit.
That's what they call
boxes.
themselves.
Yeah, boxes would be like a CrossFit gym. There are some really good ones out there. I have no problem with CrossFit.
Yeah.
When programming is done right, and it's not about
even their kip pull up, you're okay with.
Well, I mean that's part of a competition.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, is anybody okay with boxers punching each other in the face?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Even like with Quinn with volleyball, there's things that they do in that sport. It's hard on the shoulder. It's dangerous. You can take a ball off the face and have a concussion.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
I let my son play football.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dangerous sport. It's pretty traumatic. Kipping pull-ups is an example. It's just another style of competition.
Yeah.
So like there's the competition side of CrossFit, which is super extreme, dangerous.
Yeah.
But if people want to go do that, it's no different than going and being an MMA fighter.
So it's not. I've never been to a CrossFit gym. Is it? So it's not all timed and all that. That's not how the general.
And they do all kinds of different strategies.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more extreme side of fitness, but there are boxes and CrossFit coaches that are really educated and really good.
Okay.
They control all the variables and they use progressions and programming really well.
They do.
Yeah, 100%. There are some really good ones.
Because I'd only heard about the rhabdomyolysis or whatever.
Yeah, that's an example of
Yeah.
of CrossFit being abused,
Right,
or
right.
not monitored or progressed correctly. But like the CrossFit Games, that is a competition. Just like
Is
running
it like that High Rocks?
High Rocks, I think, is another form. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it looks like, and again,
similar.
that's a sport. Running a marathon is a sport. It's very damaging to the body. Triathlon's a sport, very damaging to the body. It takes a lot of time to recover from those. Football, there's all these competitions that are dangerous.
Right. So you need to do the rest part. It's very important if you're doing any of these things.
CrossFit boxes, the general population coming in, they're not training like the athletes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's different thing. Like if I go and punch a bag, very different than a boxer getting in a ring fighting someone.
Of course.
So it's one is pretty safe, one, higher risk.
That makes sense.
So same thing, like a CrossFit box that programs well, progresses, and writes programs for general population.
Yeah.
Those can be very good.
Yeah.
But, if someone wants to step out of that and go become a CrossFit athlete, they gotta go do things that are damaging to compete, just like every other sport.
Yeah.
You're doing things that are dangerous and damaging to compete.
Yeah.
That's how I always look at things like, okay, that's a sport. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If you want to go do that sport, let's train around that sport. Let's prepare you for the sport, create durability around the sport. It's the same idea. So it's a kipping pull up. Very different than a traditional pull up. But again,
which are hard as hell to do, by the way.
Yeah. And so they're using the kipping pull up, to create advantage in different styles of. Yeah. I remember one time one of my SWAT teams I work with out of Santa Monica, I was doing all their nutrition and like, we don't even know if you're in shape. So they made me come do their physical testing. I had to go pass the SWAT team's yearly physical test.
Yeah.
And it was super funny because I'd never done CrossFit before.
Oh, that's what they do.
Well, the guy who did the program was a CrossFit guy.
Okay.
And so he put together this gnarly CrossFit workout. And it started off with like 50 pull-ups and finished with 50 pull-ups. You had to do the first 5 strict, then you could do the kipping or the butterfly pull-ups.
Okay. What's a butterfly pull-up?
It's a little, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
It's
a little more,
even more
momentum.
It's even more fluid than the kipping pull-up.
Okay.
It's kind of beautiful to watch.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know how to do either of those.
Okay.
So I was stuck having to do 50 traditional pull-ups at the beginning and 50
I thought you
at the
said
end.
500.
No, 50 and 50.
50.
And then there was all this stuff in between.
Oh.
It was about a 25-minute workout nonstop.
Wow.
And so I'm suffering through the pull-ups on both sides of it.
Yeah.
In the middle of it, I come to the conclusion of, I got 2 choices here. I either finish or I pass out given everything I have. And I think these guys will be okay with those 2 options.
Yes.
And then my big goal was, I don't want to finish last.
Yeah.
So we get through the whole thing. I make it.
Yeah.
I don't pass out. I got real close at one point. The world came closing in on me. And I didn't finish last.
Good. Okay.
Second to last, but I wasn't last. These guys are animals.
Yeah.
And then after the whole thing's over, the coach is like, goes, "Oh, what'd you think of the workout?" And I'm like, man, for my first CrossFit workout, that was insane. He's like, what do you mean your first CrossFit workout? Like, I've never done CrossFit before. He goes, I thought you were a high-level CrossFit coach, so I made this twice as bad as usual to impress you. I'm like, well, okay, you impressed me. I was hammered.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't even know why I got off on that tangent, but
just talk. I think we're our CrossFit little tangent.
Yeah, it was a little CrossFit tangent, but
wow.
Oh, we were talking about like kipping pull-ups. And butterfly pull-ups. Yeah. So those guys that could do the kipping and the butterfly had a major advantage of me. They could only do the traditional.
Oh man, and you couldn't have a band under your feet to help you.
No, that was not allowed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot.
No, they were the ugliest pull-ups you've ever seen. By the
That's
end
all
of
right.
it. Yeah.
That's all right.
But a fun experience. But yeah, kipping pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups are they're more fluid and there's more momentum involved, so you can do more repetition. So, it's beautiful. The butterfly pull-ups to me are like beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I've got to look that up now.
Yeah,
I'm curious because I do know what a kipping one, but I don't know what a butterfly one is.
Yeah, I got to do nutrition work years ago for some of the top female CrossFit athletes, and I just remember Val Voberil was her name. God, she could butterfly pull up. It was unreal to watch. Yeah, I remember watching the CrossFit Games it was just.
Can you be on drugs for that stuff?
They supposedly test for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know a few athletes that have been popped.
Okay. I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, but it's different than like the Olympics where the WADA organization comes in. It's a different organization coming in testing.
Okay.
The CrossFit Games, they do their own testing. So to me, that's a little fishy. Like,
for sure.
So none of their top athletes have ever been popped.
Shocking.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we got to be careful talking too bad about CrossFit.
No, we're not talking badly about CrossFit.
They may come after us. They have a habit of doing that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Am I talking badly about them? I don't even know anything about them. I'm sure they're very nice people.
Me too.
We're flagged now.
Yeah.
Great.
If we disappear, we know who did it.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what else are you doing to try and keep your sanity right now, Brad?
I'm using a lot of magnesium at night.
Oh, are you?
Before bed.
Okay.
Yeah. That really helps me, takes my edge off.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really good about not over-consuming caffeine.
Good for you.
Yeah, I've actually forced myself to cut that back as I've been getting busier.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't disrupt my sleep too much.
Good.
So basically what I've been doing is just my sleep has been really quality sleep. I'm not getting enough of it, but I'm getting quality sleep.
Yeah.
Just because my son's football practice, we don't get home from that till 9.
That's
and I'm
so
getting
late.
up at 4:15, 4:30. But the positive is the sleep I am getting is very quality sleep.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of been my thing.
Yeah.
Been writing in a grateful journal to keep my head in a good place so that I stay in a positive headspace versus letting in the negativity get to me.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's a big favorite of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I got a buddy of mine wanted to start training. I'm like, okay, we can do this, but I want to work out with you.
Good.
So I'm getting my workouts consistently
Good.
in.
All right.
Yeah, it's funny when I know someone else is is coming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make any excuses. I don't fill that slot.
Yep.
So that's been huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are getting a little quality time for you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. So.
Because you tend to, what I've learned about you is you'll say yes to everybody.
Yeah, and it's something I'm working on.
Good.
But I feel like, okay, these people are paying me to do this.
No, I know. I know.
Owe it to them to give them everything I have.
Yeah. And I think kind of it's feast or famine too in that business. I'm married to a real estate broker, so I know this.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, you don't say no to people when they want to see you.
When it's feast time, you gotta do everything you can to
because
feast.
you don't know.
Because you have no idea when the family's going to start.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
And it happens. It's cyclical for sure.
Yeah, and my clientele is, kind of the same population. So they kind of all tend to go on vacation at the same time.
Right.
They're very driven at the same time. And it's all kind of revolving around the kids' schools.
Yeah.
So spring break time is always a famine phase for me.
Sure.
Because the weeks are all spread out.
Yeah.
So it's, 4 weeks of clients
Spottiness.
being gone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And probably even ski week.
Yeah,
right?
ski week. Yeah, ski week's a little bit of a dip. Yeah. That one's not as hard though because it's only a week, not a month.
True.
So I take advantage of that one.
That's good.
Yeah, that's always a week that I'll kind of do some stuff for myself and enjoy it versus stress over it.
Right. That's good.
Because I just have this psyche of when things get slow, like during spring, I know what's going on, but in my head I'm like, oh shit.
Of course.
I'm losing all my clients.
Yeah.
Even though it's my head just goes to a weird place like that.
Right. Well, it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
When you see the numbers dip and so forth.
Yeah.
But this is totally off topic, not totally off topic, but I used to be the greatest napper and I would teach all my classes and I would come home and I could take a 2-hour nap and still sleep at night. And I'm noticing now I nap very little anymore. And if I do nap, it's a 20 or 30 minute nap, which is wild. It never used to be like that. And I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's because I'm better about my recovery in other ways. You're nodding yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You are a great example of you are
scaled back.
Focused on your oil, not the flame.
Okay. Good.
You're not pushing as hard, doing as much.
Yeah.
Right. That's the perfect example.
Yeah. So the body is saying, cool, I don't have to do this.
You don't need, you're getting the good sleep. You don't need the 2-hour nap. To take a 2-hour nap and then be able to fall asleep, that means you're really effing tired.
I know. I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
So they say as adults, we shouldn't need naps.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought naps were good for us.
They're good for us if you're sleep deprived.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you're getting enough, I learned this from NASA.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even like a 20 or 30, I thought that was okay from time to time. I'm not doing it as often, for sure.
No, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But like a 2-hour nap.
Well, I haven't done that in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Probably since I've worked with you.
Yeah. So that's just a sign. If someone can lay down and take a 2-hour nap.
Yeah. Be out.
Out. Like that's a sign that you are beat up, tired. Your body is trying to recover, especially when I take a 2-hour nap and then fall asleep like normal.
Yeah.
That's a sign the body is really struggling and really needs more rest. But when someone's sleeping, there's 7 to 9 hours a night and they're taking great care of themselves, they typically don't need a nap. Maybe every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing 30-minute naps myself, especially the days my son has football practice.
Right.
Our clients will get home at 3:30. We have to leave at 5 for football, so I'll eat something, take a 30-minute nap, get up, and go. That's been helping me too.
Yeah.
But when we don't have football practice, I don't need to take the nap, so that's always a good thing.
Now, sleep is such an interesting thing to me because it's probably my most important thing.
It should be everyone's most important.
It really is, and I've gotten weird where I won't even go out past a certain time because I want to make sure I'm in bed. And I'm really liking that lately I have been going to bed about the same time, which is about 9:30, between 9:15 and 9:30. And I wake up without my alarm,
So you
which is great.
You want to know what the greatest predictor of longevity is?
What's that?
Going to bed every night around the same time and waking every morning around the same time without needing an alarm.
Oh.
That is actually one of the greatest predictors of longevity.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I should know that, but I don't
yes,
remember.
you should know that. Okay.
I don't remember.
Report back.
And if you notice on like smartphones, like the Apple phones and stuff now, they've taken that research, so they have like the alarm to go to sleep and the alarm to get up.
Yeah.
So you can kind of set that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it's waking without an alarm around the same time.
Yeah.
That means you're getting full recovery. And then, while you're sleeping, things like the brain cleans itself up.
Yeah.
Detoxification's happening. Like lots of positive things are happening while we sleep. So if you're getting enough of that, there's a huge amount of benefit to it.
Do you think I get a fair amount of REM sleep, but my deep sleep, which is more important? I've heard conflicting things. REM or deep for recovery?
They're both really important. I couldn't tell you which one is deemed more important than the other.
Okay. I need to do some research on that. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because my deep only ends up being about an hour and a half on most nights.
Yeah.
And I think that seems low, but I definitely have a lot of REM sleep and a fair amount of light also.
I don't think an hour and a half of deep sleep is low.
It isn't?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Because I've seen a lot of Oura rings and Whoop bands over time, and most people are only getting like 30 minutes of deep sleep. So you get an hour and a half. That's a pretty high level.
Oh, okay.
Don't quote me on that. I'm just going by what I see. But I think an hour and a half of deep sleep plus all the REM sleep, I think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard that REM was more important than deep, and deep is more important than REM. So I don't know. I need to research that.
I don't know if one's more important than the other.
You need both, obviously.
Different things are happening in those stages that are both very important.
Right.
So
just curious what was more, when you're trying to rebuild yourself, if you will, from your beat down of the previous day, what is more important on the body?
I have seen that deep sleep is where people struggle as they get older. High stress people as they get older, it's deep sleep that tends to be the toughest thing to get. One of the best ways to get better deep sleep is to cool the room off. Yeah. That's where like the
But you have to be married to someone that doesn't mind if the room is cool.
Well, that's where like the chili pad or the 8 sleep comes into play, because you can, on your side of the bed, tweak it, and they don't get impacted by it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for sure. Yeah. And I still sleep in pajamas and blankets, and I have the weighted blanket, which is awesome.
I never tried the weighted blanket. I don't love that feel.
My husband doesn't either, but I love it. Yeah. It just feels, it's cozy. I don't know.
It's supposed to be really good for anxiety and stuff.
I guess so. Yeah. Whatever it is, I like it. Yeah. You could throw a shoulder out though, moving the thing. It's like, damn. Maybe that's what I did to my shoulder.
I should try one. I've never liked the feeling of being constricted.
Yeah. Well, it isn't, you can throw it off. It's not like you're wound up like a burrito in it.
But isn't it super? You just said you could throw a shoulder off.
Well, it's, But
it's pretty heavy, right?
It is, but you can determine how heavy the one you get is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never looked into it because just the thought of that. Yeah. I don't like the thought of it.
Yeah. I don't know. And wouldn't it be funny if you tried it and you just absolutely loved it?
That would be funny.
What kind of sweet pillow do you sleep on?
I sleep on the Coop pillow, I think it is.
Coop?
COOP.
Okay, what is that?
It's a really cool pillow that you can, so instead of having like a big foam thing in it or something, it's all these little particles.
Oh, so you can kind of squish it.
So you can add or take out to change this. Because I'm a side sleeper, so I fill mine up more to keep me in good neutral alignment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's called the Coop, COOP pillow.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm a side sleeper too.
Game changer.
How's it?
Yeah.
So you don't get the funky neck situation.
Yeah, because if a pillow is not thick enough and not firm enough, it messes my neck up, puts me in a really bad place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
pretty
seen
sure
those
it's good.
ones that kind of have wings that are
Yeah,
kind of cool. I'm
there's
curious
one
about
that's
that.
like all of a sudden showing up all over my Instagram.
Same.
It's like meant for side sleepers. So
Yeah.
it has like a place for your arm.
Right.
And
I know.
I haven't tried that though.
But then what do you put over the thing? That's what I want to know.
I have no idea.
They don't have a pillowcase for that. That's kind of nasty, right?
Yeah, it's gross.
And if you're a chick like me that does a 5-step skincare routine, you've got all your potions and elixirs on your face. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. There's always something, isn't there?
Yeah.
Always a thing to try and just, the new next best greatest thing.
Well, and it's kind of overwhelming
Agree.
because there's so much information coming at us.
Mm-hmm.
I heard an interesting stat that a child today has access. No, sorry. The stat was the amount of information we're exposed to today is like having to read a couple hundred newspapers
Oh, I
back
think
in
you've
like the
said
mid
that.
1980s.
Yeah. Insane.
So it's happening. Like every day people
Constant.
ask me like,
Inundated.
"Hey, have you heard of this?" No. Like what? Have you heard of it? Like,
Came
no.
out 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no.
I know.
Like there's so much stuff being blasted everywhere that you can't keep up with it anymore.
Yeah. I actually sometimes feel, always an argument could be made for how great it is with technology and all these advancements.
Yeah.
But sometimes I really miss the 80s
I do too.
and the 90s. Yeah, for sure. It was slower. It was, there was only a landline in the 80s anyway.
And no voicemail.
No, right? And you had to actually call someone. You had to write it was so different. And kids' experiences now are so much different. I'm reminded of that by my son all the time. Mom, you don't know what it's like. And in some ways he's right.
Yeah.
Because it's ironic that with more, they're robbed of more.
Yeah.
I think more things. They're kind of robbed. We had to get off the couch to turn the TV channel, you guys. And you had, 5 channels or something silly, So, I mean, you're right. We are inundated with so much information, so much stuff thrown at us all the time. It is no wonder that our society and we as a whole, we as a people are more stressed, more anxious, more depressed than ever.
Yeah.
It's not shocking to me.
And we're sicker than we were
Absolutely.
back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you think of the irony of that these advancements should be so positive.
Yeah.
And isn't this great that we have everything at the snap of a finger?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say earlier is a child this day and age has access to way more information than the president did back in the 1980s.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's not great. I follow this account on TikTok that talks about 10 things only, Gen X people would know the sound of. And it's just funny, certain things you're like, no. And, when you liked a girl, Brad, back in the day, you didn't text her, you didn't ask for her snap. You had to have nuts and go up to her and talk
Say
to
hello,
her. Yeah. I kind of miss that stuff.
Yeah.
So
It was interesting, Joseph, when for boot camp for 3 months,
right.
didn't have access to his phone.
Yes.
And I remember when he came out and he got his phone back, he's like, I don't even want to turn this on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like he had acclimated to life without a phone
Sure.
and liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Slower,
so
easier.
interesting.
Yeah. And talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah, I was fascinated by it. I was like, for sure that was going to be the first thing he'd want to turn on.
Right.
And
No.
I think he left it off for a day or two.
Overwhelming, probably.
Yeah.
And, my son kind of did the same thing. I think I told you he went through this phase of he had a flip phone. He wanted a flip phone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why in the world would you want that query keyboard? You know what I mean? It's not fun. I remember those,
Yeah.
right? And he liked it because he said, it's just, I'm spending too much time on my phone. I'm, hours sucked away.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think sometimes I don't know. Like I said, we get advancements, but at the same time, is it a blessing or a curse?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both, maybe.
I think all the advancements have a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why we need to take such good care of ourselves and try and control that stress.
I mean, it's been proven that our stress levels are much higher from
yeah,
these things.
that's what I'm saying. Anxiety, all the things. Everybody's anxious. Everybody. I don't know anybody. I truly don't know anybody that's not anxious
Yeah.
anymore.
And our dopamine receptors in our brain are changing because of these things.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Which is a real scary thing.
Super scary.
Yeah. And were you the one that was talking about testosterone levels in men being so much lower now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things contributing to that. But
Yeah. Yikes. Yikes.
yeah, there's EMF radiation. Did I say that right? Yeah, EMF radiation from the phones are affecting it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
From the Wi-Fi's.
Everything. Yeah.
Lack of sleep, poor quality of food.
Yeah, we're just piling thing after thing after thing on top. It It's wild. I don't know that our bodies were made to deal with all this.
They weren't.
Yeah.
And it's coming so fast and changing so fast that we aren't able to acclimate to it.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's so important that we really do take seriously, especially when we start to get older. Everyone thinks they're not going to get there.
Yeah.
It's a privilege if you do, by the way. People are like, I don't want to have another birthday. Yeah, you do. Because the flip side of it is not much fun,
No.
But taking the wellness path more seriously is so crucial as you get past 40 and those birthdays start coming more quickly.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you're going to be what, 49, right?
49.
49.
Yeah.
And I bet you remember 39 like it was nothing.
Yesterday.
Yeah. And it's wild. And I feel that with our kids.
Yeah.
You remember, you're just talking about Isabel doing the cookies and so forth, right? That feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
It's wild how it keeps coming at warp speed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The wellness component is so important.
Well, and it's a better quality of life as you get older.
Yes.
To have less pain, to have more energy.
Yes.
To not have to take, so many medications and have all the side effects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If something bad does happen, from a health standpoint, you're more resilient to it.
Right.
So you rebound faster from it. I've been watching that happen with some of my people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks it's hard. It's like I see this all the time on Instagram. Like, choose your hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard to take better care of yourself,
Yeah.
but it is also hard to deal with the negative side effects that come from poor health.
Of course.
That is not easy.
No.
Not easy at all.
No, and I think anybody that gets into a situation where they really do have a really scary or serious health problem, they would give anything to turn the clock back, right? And be able to do some things differently to avoid.
It always changes how they live their life.
I don't know if you always, do you think?
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Majority of the time.
Yes, people that get a real health scare say, okay, ruh-roh, I need to
live a little different, take better care of myself.
Yes. Because, let's face it, we all thought when we were in our 20s or 30s or maybe even 40s that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when my dad was still alive before he passed away, he had an episode where he thought he was dying. And so he shared with me all his thoughts in that moment.
Wow. Oh, that gives me the chills.
Yeah. He was like, is this it? This can't be it.
Ooh.
He's going through the episode that's thinking oh my God, this is it. This can't be it. I have so much more life to live, so many more things I want to do. And it was good perspective for me of
sure.
whoa.
Yeah. Things can change in a moment.
Yeah.
They really can.
Yeah.
And stop waiting to live.
Yeah.
It's here. We're in it. We don't get that long in the vessel.
And I think no matter what, when you get to that point, there's always going to be, I should have done this, I should have done that. There's always going to be that moment.
Right.
But try to get as much life in as you can versus waiting for it.
And quality. Yeah. So, like you said before when we were talking about why we named the podcast what we did, it's not all vanity.
No,
it's
not at all.
It's a component, of course. We'd be lying if we said it wasn't, but it's not the most important thing.
To me, it's the thing that I care least about anymore.
Yeah.
But I have to keep a certain...
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, it's each their own. But
no, it's being a male versus a female.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not as judged as much. But I still have to maintain a level of vanity because of what
you
I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I just let it go. And I don't want to let it go because...
I want to see you with a beer guy. Brad, just...
It's so funny. The last guy I just trained was talking. He's like, the coolest thing is, before I started training with you, I used to get shower, and my girls would be like, Dad, why are you so fat? And now they're like, Dad, why are your legs so muscular?
Oh,
he's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And his kids are noticing how much different. Yeah.
Good.
They're no longer poking my gut. All they're just focused on my muscles now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you can see just the pride that he has in
that.
And then his little girls notice that. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
So I would never let it slide and completely go away. But I'm good being 12% body fat. I don't have to be 6% body fat.
You are not 12. There's no way.
I'm closer to 12 than I am to 6. But I'm just saying,
he's lying.
No, I'm not. The quality of my life this way is so high because I've been there. I've been at 6%.
Sure.
The quality and enjoyment of my life is so much better at this, wherever I'm at now versus at the 6%.
Yep.
Life was hard to live like that. and my life was no better. No one loved me anymore. If anything, people were more intimidated to be around me. Oh, you make me feel. I heard that. You make me feel fat.
Like,
well, that doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Or now, like, I don't hear that anymore. Like, nobody's telling me, oh, you make me feel fat. I don't hear those words anymore from people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, vanity's important, but it's the least important thing of the whole reason why we should be taking care of ourselves.
Right.
Like what the weight says on the scale is really the least important factor in all of this.
Right.
Because there's a lot of shitty things we can do to ourselves to make that number go down and dramatically create a negative spin on the quality of our life.
Yeah.
But a lot of people still want to do it, and that's okay.
Of course.
You know, each person has to get to that point in their life of what's most important to them, and I don't judge that. And,
yeah.
Because I've had my high vanity periods of time in my life. I get why people want to go through that. Oftentimes, you got to go through it to realize
it's not all that.
This is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then find a bigger reason why you're going to take care of yourself versus just to look a certain way or weigh a certain number.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
That's a pretty good place.
Once again, Ramblings and Musings by Brad and Raquel.
These are my favorite. I'm not gonna lie.
Are they? Really?
I really like
You
these.
like our just babbling on?
Yeah.
I wonder if the audience does.
Hopefully they do.
But I liked your suggestion. Please follow Your Ultimate Comeback on Instagram. Ask questions. You know, we're happy to answer. We're happy to have, we love topics. If there's something you guys want us to chat about, we'd love
please
to.
Share it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ask for a topic to be covered or have a question you want to answer,
for sure, we'll do it.
Yeah, throw it up there on our IG, and that's our easiest place to find it.
Exactly.
Periodically, a question will come through via email or a question. Somebody at the gym will ask a question, and we'll address it. But
sure.
If you have any questions, put them up on our IG page, and
I love it.
We'll make sure to include those in our what did you call it?
Our segment? What?
Our rambling and musings.
Our ramblings and musings.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. That reminds me of on Saturday Night Live used to have that skit with Jack Handy. Remember? No, you don't remember that one. Okay.
I loved Saturday Night Live as a kid.
Yeah.
You have to give me more on it.
Yeah. It was just like Quiet Thoughts with Jack Handy. I don't remember what it was. It was some funny, weird thing. Anyway.
You remember Too Hot in the Hot Tub?
I don't remember Too Hot in the Hot Tub.
Oh, you got to Google that one and look that one up.
Who was in it? Who's in the skit? Wait, was it Will Ferrell?
No, I think it might have been Eddie Murphy.
In the hot tub. That one?
No, Too Hot in the Hot Tub. It's so good.
I would have looked that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And synchronized swimming was always one of my favorites too.
Oh man.
I can't remember the two guys.
These are some that I do not recall.
Yeah, see, you were judging me like, oh, you don't remember Saturday Night Live. You don't either.
I do, but I can remember, the Blues Brothers being on.
I remember the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to use my senior citizen card here in a moment. Anyway.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah. Have a great week.
You too.
All right.
Talk to you.
Bye.